Oh, it
first
started like
movie.
a club?
Yeah, yeah. I worked at a juice bar called Main Squeeze in Beacon in 2014. And the juice bar closed at 5 p.m. And so I asked the owner, I was like, can I just like toss up like a bed sheet and get a projector and a sound system and just show a movie? And I learned how to like license things and, you know, create food specials and drink specials that were like themed with the movie. First movie we ever did was Groundhog Day. I think this is coming out in March, but we are showing Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day. We kind of do it every year as like this kind of like good luck charm to kick off the year.
Oh, funny.
Down in the valley, moved up from the city. It's a new way of living, and I'm trying to get used to it. 1 park coolers, half an ounce of an idiot. Ordered a Manhattan, and they call me a city, yeah. At first I hurt my feelings, but it's kinda got a ring to it. When you move to the country, they can tell when you're new to it. I'm looking at a place, but I'm trying to keep fitting in. It takes too long to be a local, so for now I'm a city-it.
I'm Matt Zucker, and this is City It, learning to live and love life in the Hudson Valley. This season, I'll be getting back to nature a bit, but also into arts and culture, since I think they're all related and make the Hudson Valley so deep, so broad, and so special. Hudson Valley is quite big for the arts, including theater, movies, and later this season, you'll hear more about music. Today, though, we talk movies. Tons of films have been shot here, including blockbusters like Michael Clayton, Avengers Endgame, and A Quiet Place. Plus smaller films you might know, like Growing Up Smith and In Between the Temples, which is coming out right now and featured at Sundance. Then there are classics, like Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman, which takes place here in Hudson. I drive past the house in it all the time and have been to the bar featured in it. And this past weekend, Brett and I just watched Odds Against Tomorrow, a 1959 crime thriller shot in Hudson, starring Harry Belafonte, which is about a bank robbery here on Warren Street. Even decades later, the street scenes are so real and recognizable. Brian and I were yelling at the screen, "Hey, that's the gym. That's 6th and Warren. Hey, that street isn't two-way." So with help from today's guest, Story Screen Cinema, I'm putting up a blog post on cityit.com with a big list of films all shot in the Hudson Valley, so you can also soak it all in. Anyway, when we lived in Red Hook, we'd regularly go to Upstate Films, the independent movie theater in Rhinebeck. A small theater with just a few screens. It even had a membership, which we did for a year. The films we'd watch would be artsy, yes, but also first run, and not so obscure. But it was a more intimate place to go watch a movie on a Sunday than a big chain theater. Local business cards would flash on the screen as ads before the trailers. Many of the businesses you'd recognize. You'd also probably see people you know in the audience. Upstate Films also had a location in Woodstock and had expanded to Saugerties too. Was it now a chain? Nah. As I shared earlier, I had surgery in November, so I was home for more than a month. All I wanted to do was go to the movies, to see Wicked or Jesse Eisenberg's A Real Pain, that new film. I had time to do it, but for a while, frankly, I didn't have the strength. I was worried about getting in and out of the chair or opening a door to go to the bathroom. And then when I was up to it, I was worried about catching something from all the other theatergoers escaping the cold to do the same thing. Finally in December, we went and chose a new theater near us, an indie cinema in Hudson that opened about 6 months ago, Story Screen Cinema. It felt different as a movie experience, and it was such a pleasant surprise. I wrote to them immediately afterwards, asking if I could talk to them about it. Mike and Diana own the theater, and here's my conversation with Mike all about it. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for coming on City It.
Thank you for having me. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I just found your theater a little bit recently during the holidays. I mean, I met your partner, Diana. My husband, Brian, and I finally got the courage to go to the movies after my surgery. I had barely left the house.
What did you see?
We saw Queer.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was very cool and very weird.
Pretty
and
weird
very
movie.
long.
Pretty weird. Yeah, very long, for sure. Yeah.
And what's funny is we went to your theater and I just hadn't been in a movie theater in a while, of course. But then I also hadn't been in such a luxury movie theater. Like there was like a cup holder and like a table, and I could have brought a meal. There was a bar I could get a drink at. It was kind of an over-the-top indie theater experience. So I was really impressed.
That's kind of like the whole MO of story screen cinema, is trying to make the movie theater going experience as nice and different as possible. Because, people like yourself, like a lot of people don't go to movies anymore. And so we try to create like the best version of a night out. People don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of money. So if they are actually going to spend time and invest money in this night out, we want to make sure that it's like you can have some wine, you can bring a cocktail in, we have dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets that you can bring in, and then also pick good movies.
Dino nuggets. That's great.
They're
Maybe I'll
really,
try
really
that next
good.
time. Yeah. So anyway, let's back up and talk about like your connection to the Hudson Valley, and then how did you get to Hudson?
So born and raised in the Hudson Valley. I was born in Beacon, New York, raised there, went to high school there, went into the military for about 5 years so that I could use the GI Bill to pay for college. So I could go study film.
Which branch?
Navy.
Is that the right question? Branch or division?
Branch. Yeah, branch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like the branches, and then there's divisions within divisions. Yeah. No, Navy, I figured that was easy because I just kind of...
Navy is easy.
I got
Navy's
paid to
easy.
like see the world and stuff like that. It's pretty dirty, but it's okay. I used that to study film, and I wanted to be, when I was younger, obviously like anybody, like you want to be a writer director, like you want to be Tarantino, you want to be Spielberg, Sofia Coppola, like you want to be these like the big one in charge. And I realized that I was like, I have no idea how to direct. I'm actually not a very good writer, at least like fiction. I started doing film criticism, and I was like, oh, I can talk about movies pretty good. And I liked editing. And so then I was just kind of like, well, maybe I'll just like start showing movies with friends. And from there, Story Screen just kind of popped out of that, like a way to show a movie and share it with a bunch of people that I knew or didn't know. And we could all get together and talk about it afterwards. And like literally the first...
it started like a club?
Yeah. Yeah. I worked at a juice bar called Main Squeeze in Beacon in 2014. And the juice bar closed at 5 p.m. And so I asked the owner, I was like, can I just like toss up like a bed sheet and get a projector and a sound system and just show a movie? And I learned how to like license things and, create food specials and drink specials that were like themed with the movie. First movie we ever did was Groundhog Day. I think this is coming out in March, but we are showing Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day. We kind of do it every year as like this kind of like good luck charm to kick off the year. I showed that, had a bunch of people come. We kept doing other stuff like Silence of the Lambs, Princess Bride, Sleepwalk with Me, trying to do like popular stuff, little known stuff. And then from there, the movie theater in Beacon was getting renovated. And I became a part of that because I had been running Story Screen for about 4 years at that point. And so I knew how to license movies. I knew how to do all of this stuff. And my partner, Diana, was like doing all of these pop-ups and stuff with us where we were going to like sandwich shops and bars after hours or being the talent. And instead of being like a musical performance, we're like, we're going to show Rushmore. And we would carry around a screen, a PA, a projector. We would license movies and everything and pop things up, pay for it ourselves. We're not making money, but it was fun. And we were meeting a lot
What
of
were you
cool
doing
people.
full time if this was on the side?
Bartending and working at coffee shops and working in kitchens and everything. Honestly, a lot of the work that I was doing in restaurants, like both like serving, bartending, working in kitchens, has really helped now because I did the Beacon spot for a while, which had, like a Wonder Bar was connected to it. And that was like a restaurant with fine dining and cocktails and stuff. And we would create cocktails that were themed with certain movies that we were showing. I left that business to open up my own with Diana. And we were looking in Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, because we live in Poughkeepsie now. Diana's from Wappingers Falls. We were looking around the area to like find this new spot. And the Hudson location, the old Madison Theater, the old Cinema 3 Fairview, just kind of landed in our laps, like out of nowhere. A friend of mine who is my projector buddy, where we like just nerd out on projector equipment and stuff like that about what to upgrade and everything. He was doing repairs for the old Madison Theater and was like, they're looking to sell the business. And we went in, we took a peek. It's 3 screens. The Beacon movie theater was 3 screens as well. So it was kind of like, I know how to run this. It's a little bit bigger. It has a full kitchen and a full bar. So we were able to design, like I was saying before, like working in kitchens and bars for so long, I'm like, oh, I know how to make cocktails that are like movie themed, and I know how to do, movie themed food and recipes. So
there were fun drinks. Yeah.
It was kind of just like a match made in heaven, where we didn't have to struggle too much to make the idea of what we wanted the movie theater to be work. Because it was, I don't know if you're familiar with the history of the building. It used to be a theater and then a pizzeria was next to it. And then they just knocked down a wall and connected them. And so now the pizzeria side of it is like the bar, the kitchen, and our arcade, which has like a bunch of pinball machines and like old classic like retro arcade cabinets and stuff. And then the movie theater itself is 3 screens altogether, about 250 seats between them.
Did you put in those tables and cup holders and the kind of the fancy setup?
No, those were actually there when we bought the business, because it had slowly been going through renovations over the past few years prior to COVID and then throughout. So the seats and the tables were like brand spanking new when we got there. All we had to do was like kind of go in and tighten them all up and give them a little clean, replace a couple if like they were broken or anything like that, and touched up the projection. The place was pretty much turnkey, just needed little tiny updates here and there to kind of get it to like the standards of like the vibes that we were trying to put out there.
What's the indie cinema scene like in the Hudson Valley? Brian and I used to go to Upstate Films a lot in Rhinebeck, and we've been to the one in Woodstock where we went to this great event for Big Night. It was a celebration of the movie Big Night by the chef who did the catering at the theater. So we had the meal.
That's great. It
was a great themed experience. And then we had dinner at Kachina.
We did a screening of Big Night a couple years ago it's called the Poughkeepsie Underwear Factory. It's an old underwear factory that now operates kind of like as a shared space. There's a cafe there and stuff. And we do this thing called Pasta Night, where I make plates of like cheap pasta and we watch a movie on VHS. And people sell VHS tapes and vinyl and stuff like that. Funny. And it's this old retro feel. Wow. And we were like, oh, Big Night's absolutely perfect. So that's great.
You got to make the dish from Big Night. There's a special dish.
I mean, I'm not that good of a chef, but like, I made some rotini. It was good enough.
Funny.
I actually write a monthly article for Chronogram about the big movie events to catch this month at local Hudson Valley independent theaters. So like I know all of these guys, like, Jacob Burns Film Center all the way down in Pleasantville, Tinker Street, Upstate and Socrates and Rhinebeck. The Movie House in Millerton is like one of my favorites. If you've never been, it's one of like the greatest movie theaters out there. I think the first time I went there, I saw Call Me by Your Name, and it was like, I had not heard anything about that movie before. It was right before it became this massive, gigantic thing. And everyone's like, Timothée Chalamet as a star. And it was back when like they had that room where it was essentially just like a pull down screen and a couple folding chairs. And it was just like packed with people. It was like December. It was kind of chilly. And it was just kind of like, I like this a lot.
It's a great town. You can go to a cute dinner, and then they have Irving Coffee next door to it. And it's a great.
I was going to say, there's a restaurant. There's like a bar restaurant that's like just literally 3 doors down from the theater. And that's kind of what me and Diana do. If we go on a date night up in Millerton, normally we go up there because they would be showing something that no one else is showing. Every year, I try to watch every single movie that's nominated for an Academy Award. It's kind of like this little weird treasure hunt that I do that's costs a lot of money and is very exhausting, but I've done it like 4 years in a row now, and I'm pretty set to do it this year again. Owning a movie theater helps because I can ask for screeners and stuff like that. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah. But we went there. Usually Millerton is the one that plays those really small international or documentary movies that no one else is showing. And I'd be lying if I didn't at least mention, like, Millerton, how Movie House operates and how Upstate operate. I very much crib from. I don't steal, but I'm very much like, I want to do something kind of in the line
Upstate
of that.
Has like a membership or something. We did it one year. It was an interesting model.
Yeah, we want to start a membership. We want to build our community a little bit more because, again, we just started in Hudson and it's already amazing. I keep telling everybody, I don't want to sound egotistical or anything, but we have 51 reviews on Google right now, and they are all 5 stars. Like, there's
good.
nothing below that, which usually I find funny because usually when people go to leave a review on Google or something, like they're going there to be mean. They're just I can't believe that the popcorn didn't taste good, something like that, which is absolutely fine. And now that people are going to listen to this, they're going to go on there and they're going to leave. Like, I keep waiting for the 4-star review. I don't think we'll ever get a 1-star, but I keep waiting for that first 4-star. It was like, all right, bring me back down to earth. We haven't done a membership yet because, again, we're trying to build the community. We did do this really cool, if I do say so myself, retro kind of like coupon book, where it's like 10 free tickets, 5 free popcorns, 5 free sodas that you could buy for like half the price of what they're all actually worth. And then you tear them out and they're perforated and you can just like hand them out and stuff like that. And we figured that was like this kind of early 90s retro way of like having a membership for a movie theater, which kind of operates as that because it's good throughout the whole year. It only costs $100 and it's pretty much more than like $250 worth of stuff.
Leave it in your car, like leave it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's perfect, like, because people can share them. So it was a really good, like, holiday present and stuff like that. Yeah.
How do you choose movie, like what to show? Because I would imagine licensing, like things cost different amounts of money and you have to anticipate demand, but you also want to pick up what you like. How do you decide what to show?
It is all of those things combined and even more. It's curation, it's programming, it's trying to make sure that you're not overstimulating on certain genres or certain things, but you're also making sure to cover all of your bases so that you have a variety. Variety is the spice of life. That's why we have essentially 35 different types of candy at our theater. We want to give people the options to choose these things. We only have 3 screens, so we can't show as much as we would love to. We can typically only show 3 to 4 first-run brand new movies, and then interspersed in there, we like to do monthly themes and stuff like that. We just did some David Lynch films in February to celebrate his work and everything, and mourn him passing away. And like we also did beach movies in February too, because it's supposed to be very, very cold in February. So we were like, let's show Mamma Mia, let's show Forgetting Sarah Marshall, let's show Castaway, and just have these beach movies that are like, in selecting those 3, like those are 3 very different movies. And we wanted to make sure that, okay, so we've got Mamma Mia for those types of people, no offense, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall for those types of people, and Castaway for those types of people. And you want to try and mix it up and create this curation where one of the best things that people can say to me is, if you guys show something and I've never even heard of it, I'm going to come and see it because I know that if you're showing it, that means it's good. That's the best compliment that I can get.
Do you know much about who's attending? Like, since you opened, are you getting a lot of locals or weekenders or a mix or small children cutting school?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big one. We definitely get kids that like sneak into R-rated movies, which, we pretend like we don't know, but we do. But that's all part of growing up and stuff like that, as long as they don't destroy anything.
Yep.
We get a lot of tourists that are visiting and they find out about us and they're just like, oh, this is so much fun. I did not expect this. When they walk in, they expect, I think, like, again, no offense to anybody that's not us, but they either expect something like a Regal or they expect something a little bit smaller, like a nonprofit theater. And those are absolutely fine. I prefer nonprofit theaters to places like Regal and AMC. But they walk in and we really kind of have this time machine element to us where it's like we're very late 80s, early 90s retro. Like, if everybody just like lost their cell phone in that space, you truly would think that it's like 1994 in there. Besides the HD TVs, which you need. We definitely get a lot of, there's the transplants too, people that come and stay for the summer and everything. Because we opened in June 2024, and over the summer we had all of these regulars that we saw every week, sometimes twice a week, and they became like friends. And then the first week of September, they're like, all right, well, we'll see you next year. And we're like, what? And they're like, oh, we live down in the city. We just come up here. And we're like, oh. Yeah. And now they're gone. And I was like, wow, I can't wait until June when they come back. But also loads of locals, like a lot of people, a lot of regulars that come in, again, once, twice a week, catch all different types of movies. The community's been really, really, really fun to engage with.
Do you get any like city at naivete, just the fact that the movie theater doesn't cost like Manhattan prices or anything?
Oh, sure, of course. Everybody. I mean, unfortunately, movie theaters are always notorious for being a little expensive. And that's because, a common thing that some people don't know is that the movie theaters don't really keep that much of those. A lot of that goes back to the studios. So that's why they charge so much on concessions, because that's really where they make their money. They're, like on a $14 movie ticket, the movie theater is maybe taking $3 off of that, maybe. And so like concessions and popcorn and soda sales and candy, like that's where they make their money. So they're usually charging a lot because they want to make that sale up front. I have a little bit of a different business model where Diana and I, we try to charge as little as we can where we're making a profit so that people can buy more, So it's not just trying to get that $12 for a popcorn out of them. It's, well, they'll probably spend $22 if they can get a popcorn, a soda, a candy, and some Dino chicken nuggets in that thing. And that seems to be the general vibe of everybody coming in. Is they appreciate that we're trying to keep our ticket prices down as low as we can. They understand that it's like we don't get to really pick that price. That's kind of mandated by studios and like areas and stuff like that. How many seats we have, how many days a week that we're open. We're hoping to get to 7 days a week. Honestly, by the time this episode hosts, we might be at 7 days a week. Right now, we're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays because it's just me and Diana working it right now. We haven't hired any employees since we opened in June because we're really trying to funnel everything right back into the business so that we can keep making these improvements and making it better and better and more automated.
Yeah, people definitely don't understand the business model. I mean, I know I didn't until Diana explained to me about the refreshments, because I was one of those people that would like sneak in my bottle of water and stuff. Sure. And now I won't, because it just, now that I know this, it just feels different.
I mean, it's
weird.
It's bad for a movie theater owner to say this, but I'm going to say it. Everybody sneaks stuff in. It happens. We all know it. All we ask is buy something.
Right.
If you want to sneak a bottle of water in or a Mountain Dew because we don't have Mountain Dew, that's absolutely fine. Just like buy a popcorn or a Hershey bar.
I think that's good. That's a good candid way to approach it. I think people will respect that.
Yeah,
too.
and we get a lot of people too. When we show these artsier quote unquote movies like Queer, we get a lot of people who are just kind of like, Queer is not exactly a popcorn eating movie. Like you're not like funneling down the Diet Coke and like the butter with Queer. So when we get movies like that, we try to pair those with really big movies like your Marvel movies or Disney movies, because that's where you really
I had like
make
a white
your
wine
money.
during Queer.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, that's having a bar is key. Like that is, now you're making money off of the bar, you're making money off of the kitchen, you're making money off of the arcade, you're making money off of the movie theater. It's this new kind of post-COVID mentality of running a business where like your business can't just be one thing. You've got to be like 3 or 4 things to be successful these days, because everything costs so much money and everybody's time is so fleeting. They want to make sure if that's the movie theater that they're going to go to, that's worth the time and the money that they're investing in it.
I saw advertised you could rent it out. You could do an event. I have a whole bucket list thing now. I've wanted to do, and tell me if I could do this at your place. I've always wanted to do an ensemble sing along of Grease. And and let people like sing along and stuff like that too. I'd obviously be Sandy, and it would be like an event. And I was going to do this in a long table in a farmhouse and figure out the audio and the screen and all that kind of stuff. And then a friend tried to help me put it together. I think we applied.
Sounds great.
We applied for the script. We got rejected. We got rejected for whatever application we did. But maybe I could rent it at the movie version, which doesn't have all the songs, and do it in the theater. Is that hard to do, or is that doable?
No, it's the easiest thing in the world. Like it's again, like it is this thing where I've been showing movies now for over 10 years, and I've been running movie theaters for almost 8. And it is this weird thing where it's people ask, is that even possible? I'm like, yeah, that's the job,
Yeah, and you would know how to get it. So this
exactly. It is this thing where it is like anything else in like the movie industry and Hollywood and stuff like that. It is all about who you know, whose emails you have, whose phone numbers are in your phone. We rent out stuff for different types of private events all the time. Sometimes people buy out one of the big theaters for the entire day and just show movies on a loop for 8 hours while they come and go play arcade games and stuff like that. Absolutely. Yeah. And we, again, just like our concessions and our ticket prices, we try to keep the pricing on that as low as we possibly can, because we know that times are hard. Everybody is kind of financially struggling a little bit. So we're trying to make sure that it's, if you want to escape and because you want to give your 8-year-old a really good birthday party, we know you're trying to not spend too much money. And also too, you're going to bring like 28 kids into our business and they're all going to get candy and popcorn and stuff like that. They're going to have parents that are, you know, sipping on a Pinot Grigio and stuff like that at 2 p.m.
Well, for me, there will be, so for Greece, I will pay whatever you charge me. I'll pay as much as possible to do this activity. There will be no children, and there will be Pinot Grigio and Sauvignon Blanc for everyone.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we can get Sauvignon Blanc in there for you for sure.
So have you done any Hudson Valley thematic things, either movies filmed here or like Merchant Ivory, they lived here?
Yep.
That Paul Newman thing was shot in Hudson at that bar and that house. We actually 23.
Just did the screening for Nobody's Fool for its 30th anniversary. What would have been Paul Newman's 100th birthday just this past Sunday. It was great. We partnered up with Spotty Dog Bookstore, and they did a book club, and people read the book and then came and watched the movie, and then all hung out in our arcade afterwards and talked about it for a little bit. It was great. Yeah, and Time and Space Limited as well. Yeah, they just did that Merchant Ivory. Again, like talk about a theater that I'm so jealous of when they pick things. I'm like, I should have thought about that. That's a great idea.
Well, and they have good parking.
They have great parking. And they did the Merchant Ivory series that I actually wrote up about for Chronogram because I wanted to try and get the word out on that because I was like, go see stuff like this. These are the types of movies that you want to see on the big screen. Like Deadpool is really funny and he knows that he's in a movie and stuff, but like Merchant Ivory, that's the raw stuff.
If you're looking for any ideas for the summer or for like the big season when people are coming up, I could imagine a City at Festival of movies about people buying houses and then like the bottomless pit, whatever, the muddy pit, or like different country problems of like getting stuck in the country, or even some outdoorsy things. But it's got to all have that kind of City at feel where people are more.
Let's do it. That sounds great.
I know. Doesn't that great? I'll be the lead sponsor.
June.
Yeah. Okay, thanks so much, Mike. How can people find you?
The best way, our website, storyscreenpresents.com.
Right.
That's got all of our stuff. We've got a blog on there. We've got a podcast as well. The blog and the podcast have been a little on hiatus, but if people are checking this out in March, that's probably been fixed now because now we're posting all of our best of 2024 episodes and lists and stuff like that. I'm still trying to figure out what my top 5 movies of the year last year are. It's really difficult because you just keep watching newer movies and you're just kind of like, I really liked my top 5 and now Nickel Boys is definitely getting in there.
Right.
And then Instagram and Facebook, Story Screen Presents, like we're pretty much searchable and findable through that. If you want to check out the podcast and just want to search on wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff, it's called Story Screen Presents. That's kind of like the flagship name of everything. Yeah, check us out. We're very funny and sometimes smart.
Me too. The same brand.
Down in the valley, moved up from the city. It's a new way of living and I'm trying to get used to it. 1 pot noodles, have an ounce of an idiot. Ordered a Manhattan and they call me a city, yeah. At first it hurt my feelings, but it's kinda got a ring to it. When you move to the country, they can tell when you're new to it. I'm looking at a place, but I'm trying to keep fitting in. It takes long to be a local, so for now I'm a city.